G'day guys and welcome back to your English Aussie. We are back with the best stats and analysis for all the best defenders, midfielders and forwards to buy for FPL Game Week 14. So strap on your boots and let's jump straight into the video. So first up we have the less than 4.5 million defenders. At the moment, I think these sort of guys are starting to fall away slightly from being nice options. Obviously, if you want a fifth defender as bench fodder, they can still do the job, potentially picking up DEFCON here and there. Right at the top of this list is Mukiele of Sunderland. Sunderland, however, have had a brilliant run of fixtures up to this point. Looking at their next 5 games here, they have Liverpool, Manchester City, Newcastle, Brighton, followed by Leeds. That's a really difficult run of games for them, although they've managed to keep quite a few clean sheets so far this season. And Mukiele is adept at picking up DEFCON points. I would probably avoid bringing in any of these players at this time. If you have somebody like a Mukiele or a Dan Ballard already in your team, I would be happy to keep them over this fixture run if you're using them as a 5th rotation defender. Other options in this price point, Joe Rodon of Leeds, again with a tricky few fixtures over the next few game weeks. And then Hartman and Diouf of Burnley and West Ham, respectively. Hartman obviously on some corners for Burnley, picking up those 4 assists so far this season. Diouf, obviously that attacking threat for West Ham, who are starting to look a little bit better, but still struggling to create offensively so far this season. So we will move on to the mid-price defenders, and here we've just got so many players to talk about. If we start with Crystal Palace, we've obviously got Lacroix, who's been really picking up those DEFCON points alongside Palace's clean sheets. And also Richards on this page. I do slightly prefer Lacroix to Richards unless you really need to save the 0.5 million price point. Bear in mind, Palace really are struggling with the amount of fixtures they're having to play this season. Obviously in the Conference League as well. We've heard Glasner come out this week, talk about how the Palace players were tired and they needed to bring in more players in the summer, which they didn't do, and they're going to need to do that in January. We also heard Amorim talk about how Man United noticed Palace was tired in the middle of the game and really pressed them and played with a lot more intensity in the second half, which did help them on the way to their 2-1 victory. Gueye in there as well at 5.1. Now, Gueye is the defender for Palace for me, who steps out with the ball a little bit more than the other defenders, and that is why he does have those 3 assists. He does manage to step out with his ball, gets in the spaces just on the outside of the box and just curls those into the back post for the Mateta, the Sarr, the Munoz's attacking at that back post. Obviously, if there was one Palace defender to be going for at this point, it would be Daniel Munoz. He will be on the next slide for you. Just gets in brilliant, fantastic attacking positions. I did captain him a couple of game weeks ago for that 14-point haul. I have been talking about how he is an excellent player at the moment in FPL and has been going to explode, and I think there will be another explosion from him at some point this season, and Palace with some really nice fixtures, especially the next 2 game weeks with Burnley and Fulham. I like their defenders. You must at least have one for this fixture run. O'Reilly at Manchester City down there at 5.1 million. Obviously, Man City on a really fantastic fixture run at the moment. I think if there is someone for Man City that I would be looking at, it would be O'Reilly. Attacking threat, 1 goal, 3 assists so far this season. You can see the expected goal involvements here, the highest in this section at 0.30. 0.19 for goals, 0.11 for assists. Really nice stats. Senesi obviously suspended this game week after picking up an additional yellow card, so will be out for the Everton game. Don't bring him, but I think he's fine to hold. Chalobah there also for Chelsea. 3 goals, 1 assist. Someone who's just adept off corners. Chelsea so prolific off those corners. Reece James is the guy who is taking those corners, who does move into that midfield role quite frequently for Chelsea. Has started to play back-to-back games for Chelsea lately as well. Is starting to pick up quite a lot of minutes in the Premier League. 5.6 million for me though, just with Chelsea's fixture run not being amazing. Maybe not what I'd look to go into at the moment, but definitely Reece James is someone that I've got a really close eye on in that Chelsea side. Anderson at Fulham at 4.5 million. If you are looking to play 4 or 5 defenders every week, I think Anderson's a really nice pick. The defensive contributions per 90 of 11.52. Really, really nice there. And I do really like Anderson for all of his stats there. The only problem with Fulham is just they really struggle to keep those clean sheets. Finally, Malik Thiaw, just wanted to talk about, obviously, with those 2 goals for Newcastle. If you are looking at those Newcastle defenders, probably from game week 15 when they start to go on a really, really nice run, Malik Thiaw is one to keep an eye on. I do actually really like both Livramento and Lewis Hall, so I am trying to wait an extra game week for Newcastle to see if I can bring one of those guys into my team from game week 15 onwards. On to the expensive defenders, and we do have, obviously, Gabriel at the top of this list. Still struggling to know when he'll come back from that injury. A little bit of a wait and see for me. If you've got him in, depending on what your team structure is, if you're looking to go big at the back, I would suggest transferring him out, as he could be out for a few game weeks. If you're happy to have him sit in your team and wait for him to come back into that Arsenal team, maybe you're playing 3-5-2, you don't have to worry about price so much, then he is obviously fine to hold. Obviously, going forwards to game week 16, we're going to have those 5 free transfers for AFCON. So potentially he's someone that you can get rid of in game week 15 with any additional free transfers that you have at that point. Remember that you've got those in the bank, and make sure to spend all of those transfers in game week 15. Daniel Munoz there, my number 1 defender at the moment. I think he is a must-have for any team you have. If you do not have Daniel Munoz in your team, get him in this week. Burnley for Crystal Palace, followed by Fulham, 2 teams who struggle to score a lot of goals. I think Daniel Munoz is essential if Palace can keep in shape and keep up their fitness. Jurriën Timber and Calafiori, just a couple to talk about if you are looking to go into that Arsenal defence, which obviously is one of the number 1 defence in the Premier League. Arsenal with some really nice fixtures over the next 4 game weeks. If you do want an Arsenal defender in there, I'd probably go for Timber over Calafiori, but Calafiori obviously inverting into that midfield role for Arsenal at the moment, starting to pick up a little bit higher positions as well. I know did get brought off at half-time for Lewis Skelly, but I don't expect that to happen on a longer term. And with Gabriel and Saliba, of course, missing some games at the moment, I don't expect there to be too much rotation in the rest of that back 4 while those key defenders are out for Arsenal. Tarkowski in there just to talk about DEFCON, 10.38 DEFCON per 90. The fixtures for Everton are okay, not brilliant. 3 out of the next 5 are probably reasonable. Bournemouth, however, are starting to score goals. Nottingham Forest as well. I know a tough game week for them this week, but have been a little bit better under Sean Dyche and have been a little bit better offensively as well. Virgil van Dijk finally with a clean sheet for Liverpool, who, to be honest, still didn't look fantastic in that game against West Ham, who are one of the worst teams in the Premier League for scoring goals. Didn't look fantastic. Still 10.62 for DEFCON. If you've got him, I'd hold on to him. Liverpool have some really nice fixtures. Sunderland's not an easy one in game week 14, so don't treat that as a fantastic game. They have been really good so far this season. However, I do expect Liverpool to come out on top, start to get themselves into some form over the next few game weeks. Another one just to talk about in here is Josko Gvardiol of Manchester City. If you're not a fan of Nico O'Reilly, Josko Gvardiol can be a set-piece threat for Manchester City. He's no longer that roaming left-back threat as we've got Nico O'Reilly down that left-hand side, but still could pick up the occasional goal for Manchester City, and obviously good for that clean sheet potential for them. Someone to consider if you're looking to go a little bit differential at that price point. Moving into the cut price midfielders then, not much to talk about in here. Granit Xhaka for me, the pick of the bunch. 1 goal, 4 assists so far. Going to play every minute for that Sunderland team. 11.38 defensive contributions per 90, just under the 12 required to be picking, on average, to be picking up defensive contribution points. And Dewsbury Hall, who's just been getting in some great positions for Everton at 4.9 million, might be just a nice 5th midfield rotation option if you are looking for a cheap 5th midfielder to sit on your bench. Don't particularly like anybody else in this list so far. Keeping an eye on Weaver at Brighton and also Mallon at Aston Villa if they start to pick up a few more goals or minutes, especially with Aston Villa having quite a nice fixture run after Arsenal in 15. Moving on to the mid-price midfielders, one that stands out on here, Declan Rice, 75 points, right up there with Antoine Semenyo at the moment. 2 goals, 5 assists, 10 bonus points. Baseline BPS, as you can see, 16.62, means that he's picking up those bonus points regularly if he does do something in the game, or i.e. a goal or assist. Looks really set to get those bonus points for Arsenal. His DEFCON has been picking up of late. He's up to 10. For me, definitely someone to consider. If you do have a third Arsenal spot available in that side with Gabriel no longer in there, perhaps you don't have a Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice is definitely an option at that 7 million if you are looking to save a bit of money and maybe spend it elsewhere, upgrade somebody else in that midfield, perhaps to a Bruno, perhaps to a Foden, and you're looking to save a little bit of money with Declan Rice. I think that's a nice one. Inte of Brighton, their nice fixtures have got maybe 1 or 2 left. I think Aston Villa are a little bit tricky now. They're coming into a bit of form, quite solid defensively. West Ham is a nice one in there. Liverpool, Sunderland, Arsenal, all not the easiest of games for Minte. Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle, someone just to think about over the next few game weeks. After this Tottenham game in game week 14, 15 onwards, Newcastle have a really nice fixture one, and Bruno could be someone. 3 goals, 4 assists so far this season. He keeps ticking over those points. Could be a really interesting mid-price pick. A little bit of a differential that you might want to go for. Caicedo, obviously, with the red card, will be suspended. Someone that you can look at bringing out of your team now after that straight red for the dangerous tackle this week. Elliot Anderson of Nottingham Forest has been really picking up of recent weeks. I think 6, 8, 9 points over the last 3 game weeks. Great baseline bonus points. So when he does get that goal and assist, he has been picking up the bonus. So when he does get the goal or assist, he does have a good ability to pick up bonus points in those games. Defensive contributions per 90, 13.46. I know he's been a little bit of a dodger, picking up 11 in a lot of game weeks, but obviously those stats are saying that he is going to continuously pick up those defensive contribution points. He has been showing that over recent weeks he can be a big impetus for a Nottingham Forest team who are starting to play slightly better. Casemiro, another one to think about. Great offset pieces, a real threat for Manchester United. Only 11.54 for defensive contributions per 90 though. Maybe I would prefer Anderson despite that Casemiro goal threat. And Dominic Szoboszlai, one to keep an eye on here for Liverpool, picked up the right wing role for Liverpool after they dropped Mo Salah to the bench this week. Is that a place where he might start to pick up some more goals, some more assists? He's already excellent at tracking forwards and backwards. I'm sure he'll continue to get close-ish to those defensive contributions per 90. But if he can start to pick up some goals, assists, obviously on direct free kicks as well for Liverpool, could be a really nice, interesting option at 6.6 million. On to the expensive midfielders. We obviously have Antoine Semenyo top of the list. For me, he's just not a sell. I know hasn't been picking up the points in the latest of game weeks. However, put one on the plate for Evan Nilsson, who missed from like a yard out shot, which was getting deflected into the goal, probably for an assist, which Evan Nilsson tapped over the line and was offside. Could have easily ended up with 2 assists and maybe 10 plus points last game week rather than the 1 pointer that he did end up with. Definitely someone I'd be keeping in the side. Bryan Mbeumo, definitely someone I'm looking at in game week 14 to bring in. West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth, Villa, Newcastle, next 5 game weeks for Manchester United. And it does go on. United have a really favourable fixture run coming up. And Mbeumo, someone that really could pick up the goals and be an excellent asset to own over this fixture run. Similarly, Eberechi Eze for Arsenal. A nice little fixture run for Arsenal actually coming up over the next 5 where they could score a few goals. And Eberechi Eze might be a really nice midpoint pick. I think over these next few game weeks, there are quite a few of these mid to higher price midfielders who are starting to look like they could be some really nice options. Bruno Fernandes, another one, again for Manchester United, picking up assists, picking up bonus points. He is a points magnet, 63 points so far this season. Just definitely someone that I'd be looking to consider. Phil Foden, 8.1 million as well, found his shooting boots and scoring form for Manchester City. They have a really favourable fixture run over the next 5 game weeks. Phil Foden, again, almost another differential pick in this high price point area. And finally, Cody Gakpo. Now, he is one of Liverpool's key attackers on that left-hand side. A goal and assist this week for Liverpool. Really someone that over this fixture run for Liverpool, if they can get going and start to find form, Isaac with a goal as well this week, he might be a really crucial player. Now, Arne Slot has a big role in this. As a manager, can he find the best from Liverpool? He really season to get the best out of Liverpool, to make the right formations, to pick the right players, and his role as manager is going to be really crucial going forwards to the success of Liverpool, and especially over these next 4 or 5 game weeks. Speaking of managers, if you have ever thought about becoming a manager, think you'd be a good manager, think you've got that tactical nous, check out this. It's a game that I've got super addicted to recently. It's called Footium, and it is a football manager game.
This is Footium, a new online football management game where you actually own your own players, club, and manage the team, competing in daily matches against other managers. You start by signing up on the Footium website with an email address. Once you're in, you can purchase your own club, complete with a badge, a stadium, and a squad of players. You can choose to play for free as a caretaker manager while you understand the game, or buy your own club with a card. Every player has stats that matters, things like stamina, leadership, and which-footedness they are. These aren't just numbers, they affect how your tactics play out on the pitch. You set your formation, pick your lineups, and compete against other managers in daily matches. Win games, climb the divisions, win rewards, and build your football management legacy. And finally, because players are digital assets, that means you can trade them on the marketplace. So you can scout bargains, sell talent, and build a squad that meets your style.
It's a game that I've got super addicted to recently. It's called Footium. I've dropped a link down below to sign up if you are interested. Moving on to the forward line. Quick shout out to you guys. If you have enjoyed this content so far, please smash that subscribe button, smash the like, or don't, no stress. Enjoy the video, enjoy the stats. Now, moving on to the forward line. Right here, again, not many options to be looking at. And the match here of Leeds actually has been quite interesting. 4 goals so far for Leeds. A bit of a tricky one, though, for me. I don't think I'd be going for either Nemecha or Krupi. I'd probably just be sticking with Mark Guiu at 4.2 million and making those savings and that striker role. Personally, I think the 2 strikers is the optimal way to go. Probably a Haaland plus one of Thiago and Welbeck. But as we go through, we will see those other options. Moving into those mid-price forwards, and you do have Igor Thiago, 11 goals so far this season. I know a little bit of a penalty merchant, plenty of people will say, but you've got to be in the position to score the goals. And he has been picking up those points, 77 points so far this season. One of the top scoring players in FPL so far this season. And Danny Welbeck, England's number 9 at 55 points so far this season. 7 goals for Danny Welbeck, really crucial player in that Brighton team. They're the only guys that I like in this setup. You can take a look at the others and see if there's anyone that you think you might be going for. But these are the 2 that I'd be looking at here. Finally, the expensive forwards. Obviously, at the top of the list, the main man, Erling Haaland, 14 goals, 1 assist, 106 points so far this season. Sorry for all those triple captainers. A tough week for you guys. Those that held on, I do think 17 against West Ham is the best option for the rest of the season. West Ham obviously struggling defensively, even with Nino in there. And I think Erling Haaland has all of the qualities to cause them a lot of problems. Other options in this price point, Walter Marder at Newcastle, 5 goals, 1 assist so far this season, 7.4 million, and I think is still a nice option going forwards. And keep an eye on Alexander Isak, Liverpool's nice fixture run. If he can start to turn it on, if Liverpool can start to turn it on, he might be someone people are rushing to buy. Not quite yet for me for Liverpool, just keep an eye on him there. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. This has been your English Aussie, and have a great game week, everybody. Catch you guys later.